So I want each of us to start off by taking a moment and thinking about something that you want more than anything else in the whole world. If you had one wish that you knew could come true, that you could use to change your life personally, what would that be? Just think about it for a moment. Because in today's gospel passage, 10 people get what they want more than anything. The 10 lepers on the road somewhere between Samaria and Galilee approach Jesus and say, "Jesus, Master, have mercy on us." And as they go to show themselves to the priest, as Jesus commanded them to do, they're healed. These 10 lepers are all outcasts of society, forced to live separately because of afflictions that cause pain and shame for them. Being able to go present themselves to the priest to be declared clean and return to society is life-changing. All 10 of them are healed, but only one of them is told by Jesus that his faith made him well. The one that expressed joyful praise to God and gratitude to Jesus, it's something that the other 9 may have taken for granted. And this person who gets it, who understands that joy and gratitude have an important place in life, is a Samaritan who is an outcast in society, and he stops, turns back, and lets joy take over. Last week, Mother Megan talked about the economy of faith being abundant and everlasting. She said no one should expect a reward for doing what our faith commands us to do, saying the reward is in the action. But in this morning's gospel passage, Jesus says, "Were not 10 made clean? The other 9, where are they? Was none of them found to return and give praise to God except this foreigner?" In my previous readings of this, it's always made me think of the expectation of praise, something that last week's gospel passage cautioned against. But as I studied the text more thoroughly in preparation for this morning, I realized that the thing that sets the Samaritan apart in this story isn't that he's giving Jesus his gratitude. It's that he took a moment to feel joy and to wonder at the way his life had just been changed by Jesus, and gives thanks for that. And Jesus isn't annoyed or upset that the other 9 aren't adequately expressing thanks to them. Rather, I think he worries that the magnitude of what happened is lost on them as they hurry to go present themselves to the priest, doing what he commanded them to do. They don't take that moment. In the past year, I've gone through quite a lot of change. Today's gospel passage made me realize how easy it is to get bogged down by focusing on the next goal, the next benchmark, the next step. It's easy to see something you've hoped or worked towards as merely having been a means to the next step once you achieve it. And that internalizing of capitalist society's constant drive towards the next step doesn't always leave space to just take a moment to feel joy and express thanks. Now, a few minutes ago, I asked everyone to think about something that would change their life. But the truth is, each of us have already had wishes come true in our lives. Every single one of us has experienced something miraculous or life-changing. It might not have been something as visibly miraculous as being cured of leprosy, but our lives are full of these moments. And I'm the first to admit that I am not always taking a moment to turn back and express joyful praise and gratitude when those moments happen. A piece I read this week by John Candelar said, "As we grow older and experience more of life's grief and disappointment, we can start to view joy with suspicion." And I've certainly felt, especially in a world as divided and hurting as ours, that joy can be hard to come by, and even harder to trust when we do find it. A couple months ago, I went to Canada for the first time. I traveled by myself, I got to see Vancouver in the most perfect weather possible, and I went to a comedy podcast taping where I got to have a great time being very silly. And the following morning, Sunday, when I attended church at St. Stephen's Anglican Church of Canada, I found myself overwhelmed with emotions. There was definitely joy because a year ago, taking that trip by myself would have been unimaginable. But I also felt guilt because I was taking a weekend to myself in a less visibly divided country, And I didn't feel like I was contributing at all to the hard work that everyone who's here this morning knows our faith is calling us to do, to try to mend relationships and systems to heal our broken world. And the thing about holding positive and negative emotions simultaneously, I've found, is the negative tends to take over. And when I spoke to the priest of St. Stephen's Anglican Church in Canada that morning, he acknowledged that it's okay to turn back, be joyful, and have some gratitude, because that is what strengthens us to keep going. And in our economy of faith that operates in abundance, joy and gratitude have an important place. The moments when we allow joy to take over and to express how grateful we are for what we do have gives us the strength that we need to keep going. When we're trying to live like Jesus, to love ourselves and each other and God, it can be easy to feel overwhelmed and helpless. But each of us are making a difference in our own ways with how we live our lives in community. St. Columba's is making a difference right here. The Episcopal Church of Western Washington is making a difference in the Seattle area. We're all doing our part to make a difference. And while it might not always be evident to us at the time, we are each part of a miracle. In the Seattle area in 2025, in a world that is absolutely terrifying, we're choosing to embrace the way of Jesus. We are choosing to see the intrinsic goodness in ourselves and in each other across differences, even when that's really hard to do. And we are choosing to hope and work for a more just future for ourselves, our community, and our world. That's a really big dream. And as we each do our part in this miracle to bring peace on earth as it is in heaven, I hope that we will remember along the way to turn back and express joyful praise and gratitude for all of the life-changing moments, big and small, that we experience along the way. Because in a world that is trying to divide us and wear us down, joy is an act of resistance.